the globe. We're trained in the social landscape away from our independence. We're trained away from our decisiveness. We are all programmed to wait for instructions. And 99.99999% of the time, I'm in all these different various spaces and places, and people are literally just idling. It's like walking into a space with all the non-playable characters. Everybody is just kind of like just idling. And I come in with the inertia and shift the environment with the energy. And suddenly, the moment I start pivoting, droves of folks just start burrowing into that space. But you were standing here waiting for instructions. You could have been in creation. You could have been in innovation. You could have, if you had self-efficacy. If you didn't have self-hatred, you could have been in motion in the creation energy. So this is what I train in, the creation energy. Because we got to get out of the self-hatred. Because we're holding each other back for that. All I can say is that, it's just such a necessity for us to be in the action of creation. And it's not something that we learn. It's not something that we've learned in our social landscape. These are new skills we have to train in. I don't care where you are. See, so many of us, we have to assess whatever place we happen to be in, we must accept our blind spots. And yes, our minds is playing tricks on us. We have to accept the fact that all the knowing that there is to know, you don't know it. You have to leave space for possibility that you may need to take in some new information, because an African-centered consciousness and African-centered life skills happens in those blind spots, in that process, in that learning curve, in that peeling back and rebuilding. That's where African-centered life skills and African-centered consciousness awaits you. To reinvigorate, to awaken our ancestors within, is in those spaces. Because this entire social landscape, and I have to keep on pressing on the fact that it does not train to anything that's good for the African. So you got to understand that just about everything you do, say, behave, the way you conduct yourself, is all contrary to African independence, sovereignty, and just your actual genius, your innate nobility. Everything about this entire environment is there to suppress your capacity. So for those of us like myself that find their way outside of that, you know what I have to deal with? All of these people rejecting. All of these people rejecting my being. All of these people cutting into, and it's so bizarre. And I've spoken to people about this, and they be like, oh, and guess what? They turn out to be exactly the same. They always turn out to be exactly the same, because you have not turned the lights on in your blind spot. So your behavior is a detriment to others. You don't know all the knowing. I don't know all the knowing. This is why I am open as a lifelong learner, but I learn in African. So the way I process information, the way I synthesize it and put it into the application, which I have a laundry list and landscape of ways of being, behaviors, circumstances, situations where I am being the work, where I am living in application. And I'm here to tell you, there's no tap dance here for it. There's no jig, there's no short jingle, there's none of that. It's none of it. It's literally work. It literally is a level of maturity that means that you have to do something you may not want to do, which is a part of maturation. If you lack self-control, self-regulation, impulse control, I don't care what this matrix tells you, you are supposed to be able to self-regulate. You are in control of your behaviors. See, the madness and foolishness that's happening in our social landscape that told you don't have to, that, oh, blah, 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 and this, and then here's a diagnosis, and here's a prognosis, all of those tools are tools for lazy brains. Period. I don't care what they tell you. They lying. You can be in the driver's seat for your behavior. There are cultures all over this globe that train in self-discipline. And African people, on no front do I see any level of discipline that lends to the sovereignty and independence of African people. I don't see no discipline, nowhere. few that I do see are anomalies. But there is no club for the self-discipline, the communal discipline that it requires for you to check your ego, for you to check your self-aggrandizement. Yes, I'm very well aware of who I am. I'm very well aware of my grandioseness and my amazingness, but that's for me and my God. I don't walk in the world as if I get to shrink other people because I feel like I'm aggrandized. I have big ego because I've achieved bells and whistles and trinkets in the Matrix. The very same Matrix that has hundreds of millions of people, blood just all over it, drenched left, right, and center. I don't stand high and force by hook or crook to push other people down so that I can stand high. That's not a part of African-centered consciousness. In African-centered consciousness, we are here for faculties. We need skill sets. We need people who are excellent at their function to achieve a goal. Baba Farrakhan said, I'm going to make 900 doctors, just give me one. That's what we need. We need faculties and people who are humble enough and love the people enough to put on their being. And I've been trying to build a means to sustain and maintenance in the system so that I can give this work away for free. There's a lot of people out here charging for it. And they're not even charging for African-centered consciousness. They charge it for something similar or something close, something that makes sense, but it's nonsense for African people. But they charge it for it. Charging big bucks for it. I've been trying my damnedest for the past 12 years to build a mechanism, a relay that would pay for the maintenance in this system, since we still participate in a system that requires you to pay to live, so that I can give this work away for free. I need it to be financed. Do you know who have disrupted consistently inside of their blindness? African people, Black people, my own people. No matter how much I try to explain this, they always try to pinch off a little bit of something that they can understand, because they really don't contemplate. They really are literally incapable of understanding all of this stuff. This is why I try to put it in sound bites for people. It's unfortunate, but you've actually been trained to process information in sound bites. Your genius was removed, strategically removed from your being, little by little, over the past 40 years. They intentionally cut it away at it. And you let them. And you know why you let them? Because you didn't realize you were doing it. Because of your blind spots. Because they appeased to your worthiness issues. They appeased to your trauma. They appeased you in your ego. And you let them. So when I call you forward and I say, you got to check your ego. When I call you forward and say, don't want what the master have, therefore he have no power over you. That means self-discipline, self-regulation. You got to do that. You cannot get to this work without it, because you can't gray area it. There's no one that can gray area this work. You either all in or you're all out. Because the moment you half in is the moment they slide in and they beguile you. Like the serpent, the whispering serpent. And I'm telling you, they got hold in this space. They got a hold on this space. So if your spirit, you want to take your spirit away from it and begin to rebuild something else and help rebuild others, give me one doctor, I can build 9. Give me one with African-centered consciousness. And I am guaranteeing my work, period. Nah, I ain't playing out here in these streets. I guarantee this work. Because let me tell you, for what I've been through with this work to get it to where it is, it has to be guaranteed. Because I mean, I've gone through it. I can't even begin to tell you the levels of self-regulation and modification and contortioning that I've had to go through, the charring in order to the diamond in the rough, to get it to the brilliance that it is today. It wasn't no walk in the park. I didn't put nobody on as no costume. There was no copy and paste. This was real hard.